Good evening, this is the Athens City Shade Tree Commission meeting for November the 8th, 2018. Got one item under Title 33, trees in the right of way. We've had a report of damage to a tree at, I believe it's 294 East State Street. This was forwarded to all of the tree commissioners. I'm going to put the report together with the photographs in with the minutes of the meeting. I believe it was a sweet gum tree that had a lot of branches removed from it, which, if it is in the right of way, is not allowed without permission from the city. I don't know if the commissioners have got any observations to make on this one at all. As I say, you were all, I think, listed on the email, so you will have seen the various photographs. Yeah, the key question is it a right-of-way? Couch on the porch.
So was it, it wasn't a matter of lifting and,
No. Butchery, I think, would be the polite way of putting it.
Yeah, that's beyond pruning.
Yeah. Yeah.
and not a natural pruning.
No, I mean, it could have been done a lot better. So, anyway, I'm going to put that in the minutes as being an issue and try and pursue it with code enforcement and see what they say about it. I was hoping Ron would be here this evening. Maybe he could have commented on it, but I think the simplest way is just to document it and move on for the time being. Now, Nancy, I realise, is not here tonight, but what we've got on the agenda is a copy of her draft code enforcement process. This is under Title 37. This is a letter that she proposes should be sent reminding people of what they've committed themselves to. She's made some notes at the end about draft procedures that I think may form a useful basis for trying to do enforcement. One of the issues we've got here is that when we make approvals, we sometimes don't have the final plans. They should be filed with us. Even if they are the final plan, then they have the developer has up to two seasons, two planting seasons, so that's spring and fall or fall and spring, to complete the planting once they've completed the structure and so on. However, they are supposed to complete the hardscape before occupying the building. So there are some checks in there. The difficulty is knowing exactly when we should be doing the follow-up. One way through that is for me to for example, to put in my calendar a date at which one of us will be prompted to go out and check and see what has been done.
After two growing seasons.
Well, probably what we need is a date at which we think the developer is going to complete the building project part of it, because at that point all the hardscape should be in place, and that will then give us once we know that's been done, then they have two seasons, and then it gets a bit easier to predict what the final follow-up date is. Finding that date for when they actually finish the building is tricky. Is a tricky one, because people often come here to get approval of plans, and then they can sit on them, I think, for as long as 2 years before they.
And we've seen that happen pretty regularly.
Yeah, so it's not easy, and so maybe one thing to do is just to say, well, 1 year after, at least, if not before, we
look into what the status is. Yeah.
And that maybe that's the way to try and begin the follow-up process.
So 1 year after the building...
We've given our approval.
Oh, 1 year after the approval, so...
Yeah. That's given them a year to get started. And hopefully things will have happened, and at that point, either they will have finished the building work, or they should have we or they should have a good idea as to when they are going to finish the building work, and then we can set a future date at that point, and then take it from there. But it's quite clear that the only way that the follow-up process is going to work is with us actually going out there and checking. Because there isn't anything in the city that is really geared up to do this.
A year seems reasonable.
Yeah.
So, like, if they come to us with a plan in the winter and they won't start building until spring, that would still give them.
Yeah, it'd be the following winter before we'd go looking. And that may be the simplest approach at this stage.
And would we pass around the responsibilities of going and checking on this?
I'd like to, yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or you could do them all.
I'm just kidding. I'm willing to put it in my calendar, you know, the automatic prompting
Yeah, I
and
think
so on.
And
that's
whoever's
good.
available,
And we could go
yeah.
in pairs.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think we'd have to.
Yeah. So
Mustn't go in more than two, though.
I
because
know.
it'll be-
I was just going to mention that, but I thought I would be
After 2
discreet.
minutes, yeah.
yes.
Well, it's not just the minutes, but we have to announce ahead
Announce
of
we're
time
going.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
and make it public. But
Yeah.
two
Yeah.
will be okay.
Yeah, and so you know, this letter that she drafted may be useful at that time just to announce that we are coming, or it could be that we'll modify this and say, well, we've been there, we've had a look, and this is what we found, type of thing. But I think this is a good starting point to trying to get the enforcement process working. But historically, this has been one of the shortcomings of the whole process, is trying to get
Follow-up.
a reliable follow-up process developed. So I think it may come back to us to do it.
David, are you looking for edits to this, or?
If you've got suggested edits, yeah.
I was just thinking.
It's here. It's really Nancy's document, but she can't be with us this evening.
Sure.
I think what we have to do is sort of take it as is. There won't be one going out for a while anyway, and I think we may well change it so that it fits better in with what we find at the time. The other thing we could do with a letter like this is we could send this out once we've agreed. I mean, this type of letter can be sent out at the time of approval.
Yeah,
To
I think that would be good. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then we could send a modified version out when their date has arrived, more or less.
And you know, we could even include the fact that we will be coming a year hence to look.
Yes,
Right.
To see. Yeah. Okay. Anything else on the enforcement process? Okay. Well, we'll move along. We don't have a report from Ron Lucas this evening. I don't have anything under the maintenance of the tree canopy. Did you go to the Arbor Day?
I did not. No, I couldn't due to work
Was
schedule.
anyone able to go to the Arbor Day piece this year? I wasn't able to get to it. Okay.
I never got an announcement about exactly when and where it was.
It was.
Ron talked about it last time.
Yeah, you weren't at the meeting. Were you at the meeting last time? I can't remember.
I think I was.
Yes, you were. Yes, yeah. Right. He did mention when it was going to be, and then
Okay.
Yeah. At the
Maybe I
meeting.
didn't take adequate notes
And
at
it
that
was,
point.
the planting was on West State Street past Quidel, is that right? Or
Yeah, that was the plan. It was going to be on the 19th at 2 p.m. And if I remember rightly, it was close to West, but it was a little bit down around the corner and down the street.
right,
from
near
where they
maybe
are.
the golf course even, or the driving range.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so that's it. Check in the box for the Arbor Day, right?
Yes, that's the Arbor Day piece. Yes, yeah, that's our Arbor Day celebration. Because the reason for that is that it occurs at the same time as the Athens Beautification Day, which I think is Earth Day. Is it? I think that's right. And to get the best out of it, we need to separate the two events really.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, good. I see you've got a note on tree banking. That was one of
I knew there was something else.
Okay, so
thank you, Lee.
I went through our past approvals and identified the properties that we had given a variance to bank trees because they were unable due to infrastructure issues power lines, etc., to get all the trees in on that lot. So in January 16th, we approved the Donwood property out on East State Street, and they were required to bank 100 trees out of the 123 required. On February 2016, 24 West State Street, which is the new Historical Society building, needed to bank 10 trees unless they were able to get 1 or 2 in on the right-of-way on West State Street, and that would be with approval from the city. On September 2016, 65 North Court Street, which is the new hotel that's going in, where the old Historical Society was, needed to bank 6 trees unless the city gave them permission for 1 or 2 along Court Street. And that would, of course, be reduced from the 6. And then the last one at the same meeting in September 2016 was 20 East State Street, and they were required to bank 12 trees. And I'm not sure what building 20 East State is.
Oh, I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's not the old flower shop.
Is that where
No, it isn't. No.
Okay.
the bus station used to be, and Magic Video, and
Oh,
and is that? I mean, that seems like it's around in that area.
Yes, it could. There is a development there, isn't
Because
there?
there's
There's a big one going up there.
The
yeah.
apartments that have been
Yeah.
put on
It
top of there.
could be that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yep. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you. That's great.
Yeah. It's a lot of trees.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Yeah. Now we've just got to see if
Don't want
there's been
those
any follow through by the city.
Right. 128 trees to be exact.
Oh.
Yeah.
And all in 2016.
Yes, there were none in 2017 and none in 2018. And I will go back to 2015 and 14 and see. But
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. What I can do for you is I can send you copies of the minutes.
that would be easier than rewatching our lovely meetings again. It wasn't bad, but the website is very nice with our old meetings in full color.
Sort of revisiting the past.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know how to unzip files? Have you done that?
I have not,
Okay, I'll just send them all then.
and I'll figure out how to unzip them.
We'll try
We'll
it.
send
yeah.
them.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, are there any questions for us concerning tree banking? Are there any other questions that we want to ask ourselves?
So we don't have a set procedure at this point for tree banking in terms of...
We have a procedure as a
we
tree
do,
commission.
Okay. Oh, okay.
The problem is the city hasn't figured out how to deal with it internally.
Oh.
And so what our procedure says, it's up to the code director to decide exactly how this is all going to be done. We suggested that before a building permit was issued, that the code director should receive the money for the trees, because Ron did decide what the cost of a tree is for the city.
Okay.
And so that can be factored into the process. And then it's a case of maintaining within the city some sort of accounting for the trees. The issue is usually is that an organisation like the city has year-on-year accounting, and so it's difficult to actually transfer things from one year to the next. And I don't know whether they ever figured out how to do that with this.
Well, if this really gets organized, should we get together a list of places to plant trees?
Well, we could, except there are certainly more places to plant trees than we have trees. Ron, in fact, has a big list that Alvy and I put together just before she left. But things may have changed since then to some extent. But there are large areas of the city where you can plant a lot of trees if you
we do
choose
have
to do
that
it.
information
Yes,
down in writing.
Good.
Yep.
which perhaps would need to be reorganized.
Oh yeah, yeah, and there are always opportunities along the bike path to add trees as well. I mean, that's one of the big ones. But I think the one that Alvy and I found particularly interesting was on the Far East side. There's a number of streets in that area that would benefit, I think, greatly from having some trees added to them, and they would be an obvious project for doing with. For doing plants and planting of these trees.
And there's some areas around here where the Norway maples are either gone or going, and so
I live near some. Yes,
right.
They're just like the silver maples. They're running out of time, and they need to be removed and replaced. And this again is another source of replacements for trees like that. Okay, is there anything else?
Yeah, thank you, David, for doing that.
Yes,
That's
sure.
great.
Yes.
That may pay for quite a bit of tree planting.
Well, yeah. I mean, we've got.
Well, it'll be good to get this procedure rolling.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. So, if there's nothing else that we want to discuss, we have the minutes from our last meeting. Which consisted of quite a lengthy report from Ron. The first item that's there, the Goodwill property, I haven't given you a copy of the attachment that I'm going to add to the email, but this basically is the summary of the correspondence that the code director had with someone representing the owner of the property, regarding the planting of trees, and that there is no confirmed installation date for trees.
But they acknowledged that they knew they were to be put in, or
it just says we have contacted the tree purchase contracted the tree purchase installation with a local landscaper, and they are scheduled to be planted in late October. So I guess if someone went around there now, they should find the trees.
yeah.
So
First, of course, it'd be good to punch holes into the asphalt and create spaces.
Yeah, because they were supposed to put, I think, one tree island into the parking area.
One tree island.
I think there was. I think in the notes for the minutes of the meeting, they were supposed to put a tree island in there. So I haven't been there to look and see. Any other comments on the minutes?
No, I would move to approve.
Thank you, David. Can I have a second?
I second that.
Thank you, Emily.
Does anybody here have any information on the ash trees? Because I know a number of people have them on their properties, and I wonder how imperative it is to have those taken down, or if they can just be allowed to be there, naturally lose their branches, provides habitat for wildlife, and then eventually they'll become a snag. And
I think most homeowners have already kind of made that decision. If it's not going to fall on their house, car, they're not spending the money to take it down.
What I was just wondering about this structure. I mean, elm.
Well,
I'm not elm, but ash is supposed to be.
The ash trees do tend to lose their branches very easily once they die. So if it's close to your house or something that you don't want limbs falling on, it's good to take them out. If it's in an undeveloped part of your property, it's fine to leave them and let them fall on their own eventually.
Yep, that was what the plan that we developed for the city said. That basically, if there are ash trees on city lands that are in an area where the public aren't expected to go, and there's no obvious hazard to people, then just leave them, let them decay naturally.
Oh, okay, good, because that was my plan. And then the leader broke off when we had a storm, and then it blew that. It was essentially like a big branch, but it was actually the leader, and onto my neighbor's property, just over the property line, but still there was a lot of distress. So a couple of boards were damaged in the process, fence boards, but so then I was feeling like, well, maybe I should have made a different decision, and so.
No, I think the standard thing is if nobody's going to be in the way,
Okay.
let them decay naturally. Okay, are there any objections to approving the minutes of the last meeting? Hearing none, we have minutes. Our next meeting will be December 13th, I believe, at 7 o'clock. That should be the second Thursday of December. And with that, we are adjourned. Thank you.